Let's get the vibe right. Welcome to the show. Bison Spotlight. Chip and B Smooth, bringing heat to your ears. He washing the mix, facing down all fears. From the court to the crowd where the legends are born. Howard University, we're breaking the norm. Bison Nation stands strong through thick and thin. Basketball vibes, it's more than a win. Every dribble, every shot, it's a story to tell. Ray of excellence, we ringing the bell. Chip Washington's the name, self-proclaimed fanatic. In the heart of the game, his passion's emphatic. Come on, let's ride with the Bison crew. Passion and pride in everything we do. Hoops and dreams, we're reaching for the stars. Bison Brothers Podcast is who we are. Come on, let's ride with the Bison crew. Passion and pride in everything we do. Hoops and dreams, we're reaching for the stars. Bison Brothers Podcast is who we are.
Welcome to the Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast, your number one home for all things Bison basketball. My name is Chip Washington, the self-appointed Bison basketball fanatic.
What's up, Bison Nation? It's your boy B Smooth, still the lover of all things Howard and the lover of all things basketball. What's going on? What's up, E?
What's up, man? It's your boy E-Wash, man. Still got that serious basketball, Jones, and just glad to be here, brother. Just glad to be here.
Yeah, Chip, you should announce. I think I want to go by sire going forward since I'm a king of the court. I don't know about you guys, but I like being king of the court. Wait a minute. Aren't you all kings of the court?
That was my understanding.
If I check the fine print, congratulations, fellas, for being kings of the court. This was a pretty amazing week for us here at the Bison Brother Basketball Podcast. The ladies really took care of us because they appreciate all that we do to support the program. So congratulations, kings.
Thank you.
You know, there's the kings of comedy. There is the kings of course.
I guess I'm Bernie Mac since y'all always afraid of what I'm gonna say.
That's one way to claim it. I love that, E. Again, welcome to the show. We are excited to be blazing through the conference schedule here. It's our normal recap. We are going to spend some time recapping 4 games. We'll spend some time at the Burr this week. We had a pretty awesome game against Morehouse. We'll start off our updates there and end up with a battle at the Burr and over the weekend here against Morgan State. But after that, we'll do some reflective over and under reactions. And of course, because E-Wash is in the building, we're going to have a what's good for basketball before we wrap it up for this week, right? So we're looking for some fun here. But before we get into it, Chip, please tell people why we do what we do.
Bison Nation, we do this because we want you to support these championship teams through the ups and the downs. Support them, and you can do that in so many ways. You can give to the MEAC Society. That is the team's name, image, and likeness collective. You could do that by going to the MEACSociety.org. You can also give through the Bison Express Booster Club, another important avenue to give, and you can do that at hubison.com, and you can give through Fanstake at fanstake.com using the code MECA25. And we see you out there, Bison Nation. Continue going to the games. Cheeks in seats. I like it better than butts in seats. Go to the games. The teams love to see you in the stands. And I would be remiss if I didn't continue to remind you and ask you to tell everybody about your podcast. Here, the number one podcast, the Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast. You can hear us in so many platforms. You can hear us on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, and you can interact with us on Instagram at Bison Brothers Basketball. And so do all those things. Fellas, I'm excited to get into this show. As B Smooth said, we got a lot to cover, and I can't wait to get into it. Yes.
I love it. Yeah, this is going to be a good one here. And thank you, Chip, for reminding us that a big part of what we do is not just getting fans excited about basketball, but it's an invitation to support the program in so many ways. And so as a very active member of MECA Society, I would be remiss if I didn't say every team is looking for our support, including football and track and a few other sports we don't get to talk about on this show because it's about basketball. But please know that you have an opportunity to give. All right. All right, let's buckle up and get into it here, guys. We're going to get into our recaps here on the other side of this break. Let's get at it. Yes, sir. This is your boy B Smooth. It's Chip Washington and E Wash. We are known as the Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast, and we are at one of our favorite parts of the recap show is the actual recaps and insights. And today, oh my gosh, I'm looking forward to covering the 4 games that we had over the past week. And we're going to start with Morehouse, right? So this is a game that we look forward to every time we get together. It's it's becoming an annual classic for us where we do service around it, and we also make sure that we bring the Black elite folks together. So we get a lot of folks from Morehouse and Howard to come out and fill up Burr Gymnasium, all for a good cause. And when we're lucky, a pretty good butt whooping on the Tigers. If you all remember last year, we talked a lot of smack. I tried to eat the words. I couldn't get them all down. I mentioned how, we had a few jokers, big jokers, like Uwash will tell us about here in a moment. But what was cool about the game this time is that I didn't have to eat any words. Show me your shirt there for those who are tuning in on YouTube, and please continue to like and subscribe on YouTube. That is not an error. He does have an M on his shirt, and that is not for Bison Brothers, nor is it for Howard. It is for Morehouse, and so I'm glad he can represent it.
I even got it in a Morehouse color.
He did. Oh. He does. Right.
That's for our previous guest.
So for him to be able to get into this, let's set it up here. We talk about it all the time. It was a tough upset last year, but this time we walked into Burr Gymnasium with a little bit of a chip on our shoulder, right? We got a lot of new players on that team, but there's still some folks on the team that remember what happened last year. Coolest part about last year was that the best player from last year decided to come on over to Howard, Cedric Taylor III. And so he had a ball game that was ready. He was ready to go back and play against his old buddies there, and definitely wanted to see how that turned out. So as you can see on the scoreboard here, we did win 78-69. I would say that while Cedric got a lot of praise for playing a really good game, all-round game, one of his best all-round games to date, almost triple-double there. We'll talk about that in a second. Osei Okoji was probably the guy who played one of his best offensive games that we've had in a while. He's got 21 points on 9 of 13 shooting, which means he was playing the defense we know him to be part of his game, but he also brought the offense. And as I talked to him after the game, we'll talk about that too. He said, I'm not losing to Morehouse again. So I loved it. He came out like that with all of that there. So again, we dominated on the paint and we controlled the glass, which was kind of cool when you see the stats that I'm sure that Chip and Ewash will talk to here. But let's get into it, fellas. What were some of the things you all saw? I can always chime in because I did have a courtside seat representing our Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast, like a VIP that we are. So it was good to see how we could make sure that we could take in the vibe of the Burr. So talk to us, man. What did you guys see from where you all set for this game? I'll start with Ewash. Real quick because he seems like he's ready to say something.
Okay. Well, what stood out the most to me was the consistent be smooth question / observation is where's the other scoring gonna come from, and where we're gonna get some inside presence from. And Cedric Taylor III answered both of those questions in a resounding manner in this game.
Agree with you completely, E-Wash. He had 16 points, 13 rebounds, and a career high 7 assists. So he was very close to a triple-double, which means he was not going to be stopped by any means at all. He was going to bring it all that he could and did. He brought it to his old teammates and had a ball there. So great observation there. He definitely showed up in a way that was big for us. Chip.
So what I saw was, and you know, with the highlights that you see playing, first of all, Jermonte Hill, who was their leading scorer. You know, I checked last year. You know, he only had like 6 or 7 points or something like that in the game. So I was like, who is this dude? Because he was very fired up, you know, to try to make this a game. But I'm gonna give Morehouse some credit because it was a lot closer game than I wanted it to be and or expected it to be.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I was glad, it looked like we took care of business, and it was just, like I said, no complaints with that. Just like I said, from the show, this dunk again because it was so disrespectful. He did BJ Powell. Ain't right, but we took care of business, and I was happy to see that we didn't play down to the competition like we did last year with Morehouse and Bowie State.
Still taking shots.
I'm just saying. It's just
there's shots to be taken. There's shots to be taken. There's shots to be taken.
But I do think moving forward, I think this game is probably going to always be competitive. So, to all the future Bison that will end up playing for us, they need to take this game serious because I think Morehouse is going to always come to play. I appreciated the energy that they had. It was 37-34 at the half. So it was very, very close game, but we handled business. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like I said, it was a really good game from an atmosphere perspective. It's probably the best attended game we have on the calendar right now. So, for it to be a non-conference game being our sellout, we actually had a sellout this time, so people had to find places to sit. It was awesome. And I can tell you that similar to what you just said there, Chip, everybody realizes this is one of those throw the records out the window type of game, because we always want to beat up on each other, even though we're in different conferences, and dare I say, because of that, we think that we should automatically be a favorite every time we come into the game. But, you still got to lace them up. You still got to play. And so the fun part there, I'll just let you know that talking to Cedric after the game, all his boys were talking in his ear the whole game. And so they were all like, yeah, you think you went somewhere better? We got something for you. So for it to be as close as it was at halftime, it was definitely nice to get some breathing room towards the end of the game. And I will tell you this, Ewash, I'm very impressed with the Morehouse alumni of DC. They actually packed in, had about a couple of hundred folks come out and support, which was good to see that level of support based in the DC area. So I know we used to look at it as a Chip. Remember back in the day, we used to go to the Howard Morehouse football game because that was something you just did. Even if it was the unofficial homecoming, you went to it because it was where you wanted to be. And so I think this is the game for the spring, that if you're coming to town and trying to figure out when should I come hang out at Howard and I'm not in the DC area, it's worth the trip. It's definitely worth the trip.
It's funny when you said that. I had a little dyslexia or whatever you want to call it, man, because
sure.
I instantly was thinking about the DC club of Morehouse, right? And of course, for the culture, for those that know, they gave us Freaknik. So, they just, I did.
Hey, I like it.
Yeah, he's definitely turning into Bernie Mac here with the King of the Court thing. I didn't see Freaknik coming up in the conversation, but that's cool.
Hey.
You
gotta get
it's part of the culture. It's part of the culture. It's part of the culture. All right. So real quick question before we transition to the ladies and their game. I just want to ask, because as you said, Chip, it was close, but we did out rebound Morehouse by 13, but we only shot 65% from the free throw line. So the question is, if we don't fix the charity stripe, are we just one bad shooting night from losing heartbreakers like we did against University of Maryland Eastern Shore?
I think there is that it's a multifaceted issue in terms of it's not just one thing that'll cause us to lose a game. So we'll probably get into it as we go over the recaps of some of the other shows.
Yeah.
So
because I had a
So you're saying you're not going to answer the question, counselor?
I'm saying.
I'm just making sure you tended to dance around that one. It was a pirouette, they call that. You just danced around that one. But I'm talking specifically. Wrong, we're out rebounding, but we're not shooting. If we're not shooting well on the free throw line, is that something we need to clean up, man? That's really what I need to know.
Yes. Okay. I'm just saying it's not the only thing we need to clean up. So.
You watch, don't laugh. I'm coming for you all today, boy. I'm just trying to make sure. We only get to play Morehouse once during the season. We don't get to play them again. This was a game that honors Dr. Martin Luther King.
That's right.
It's the Mecca versus
can drive out hate.
it's the Mecca versus where MLK was made, and so we get that. We know that. I just know that when we play these games, sometimes, to your point, Chip, it's a letdown. But we know we're in the middle of the MEAC season, and we know that the MEAC is wide open. So it's not like there's a dominant team that's shutting down everybody right now. So I do think that, as you will tell me later on about all the other factors, we have plenty of those factors to talk about towards the end. And if you tuned in right now, we're only talking about Morehouse and Howard right now, but we know for a fact that the rest of the conversation will be very much about the MEAC. Okay? So I love it. All right, so let's do this because we had fun. We had fun in DC, and got a chance to right some wrongs from the past. Everybody felt better except Eric, and that's okay.
There are no losers in this game, especially
there were. They were the Maroon Tigers, the big jokers of the South. Yes, that's right. We're gonna get him somebody to fix his shirt when he gets done here. But we'll switch over here because as we wrapped up the holiday weekend, I know, right? The holiday weekend, we did have a chance to see our ladies take their game on the road, and they were able to go up to Baltimore. They call that the Beltway matchup. Try to figure out who wins the Beltway here, and they visited our friends over at Coppin State. And what was cool about that matchup was that in addition to us playing a solid game, right? We had a bit of a disjointed way to run at it. We did win, so let's start there. Our women did carry on and win 64-51. The game was a lot closer than the score would let on. Really didn't turn on till the second half, but it was good to see us show up and start to figure some things out. I know they were trying to stop Z Payne as much as possible, but she started to flourish as the game went on. But let's talk about it, guys. I know this is one that, as they were traveling, we start to get some sense of how the conference is shifting for us. It's about midway through. So, Chip, what did you see in this Coppin State game?
So before I get into it, there's a point of disrespect that I got to raise. When I go and I try to get the highlights for the games, and I went to Coppin State's, social media page, and, they had just played South Carolina, Dawn Staley, the whole nine, right? Coppin State, I forgot the name of their gym, but the gym was rocking. And then they played us right after, right? So I'm thinking, okay. But I go to their site, they have nothing after the South Carolina. It's like, so y'all just don't we just don't matter. So I was like, I'm glad we got the dub for all that disrespect. You play South Carolina, the gym was full. They play Howard, it was like 10 people in there. So Coppin State, I'm gonna need y'all to do a little bit better when the Mecca comes to town. So with that being said,
okay. Well, hold on. Are you? This is directed. You're directing this directly to the AD, the sports director. Who you mad at, man? Who you mad at?
Everybody at Coppin.
Everybody means everybody. Anybody with the Eagles on, just they catching it today. Okay.
Hey, all right. The smoke that I think the team had, it was like different Burr. We still clipped them. So yeah.
That's pretty clever. All right, that was clever. That was absolutely clever.
Yeah. No, but I like I said, disjointed game. I think it was the one where there was a lot of fouls. It was like every time you tried to get started, and it was on both sides. It was just a hard to watch game because it was so many turnovers and fouling. It was just like start, go. But again, I'm glad that the ladies kind of pulled it out and got through it all. And after the buzzer, I believe, Z Payne was just kind of talking about, hey, we gotta get past all of that and still execute, which is what they did, and pulled away near the end. But man, it was just all of the fans. It was like this was just a hard game to watch, but glad we got the W. I like that we had some expanded minutes for some of the non-starters.
Right.
I think Jada had it was like 17 minutes. So I like to see the liberal use of the bench. I think it's going to pay dividends as we keep moving forward. So just glad they were able to work through all of the obstacles that were thrown at them and still get the W. So
I like it. Ewash, what about you, man?
Well, I'm afraid to go behind Chip now.
You may need a bigger shovel. That's all.
But I guess sort of a trend I feel like I'm continue to see with the ladies is I almost can't explain how they keep winning. Kind of shooting percentages don't seem that great when you go through the box score. Still not sure where the scoring is coming from, but they seem to manage these games pretty well here the last 2 or 3 times out. So I'm a little speechless on it, to be honest with you.
I dig it. Well, I mean, it does make us hold our breath sometimes, and even scratch our temple when we're trying to figure out how the game's turning out. I know they start slow, and I don't like that very much because that's hard for us to look at. But when you look at the full game, right? Because they kind of, it seems like they are trying to figure out who is going to try to stop them and what they're going to try to do, and then they flip to the page 2 or 3 in their playbook and say, if they can stop this, they can't stop that, right? And when I look at the fact that, Zanaya Thomas, shout out to Z Payne, friend of the show, she had a game high 22 points, which meant she got her points. It just didn't come in the times you thought they would come. It seems like she was forcing shots a little early, and then all of a sudden she jumped into it, and the second half was really good for them. The part that's still very much part of the identity that I keep seeing show up is the defense, where they held Coppin to just 27% shooting from the floor, and they forced 24 turnovers. So I think you talked about it before, you watched in the past. If your defense is locked in, offense, maybe the jump shot doesn't always travel, but if you know that your defense is solid, you're always in the game, and they tend to find points when they need them. I'm a little nervous about, when we go against teams that don't turn off their offense, right? Everybody has these lulls in their offense, and if we ever catch one of those, we may be in trouble. But yeah, and Coppin, they played Coppin like I thought they would, kind of close early, and then they wound up pulling away at the end because I think our depth is more, to your point, Chip. We have a lot more people who can come off the bench and play at a high level than every other team. So we have our next 5 could be a starting 5 for someone else, right? So that's where I think we're going to always have the advantage when it comes to depth on the team. So yeah, it was really cool to see, and I was able to not hold my breath to the end of the game, which is great because these games keep me up late. Wonder what's happening, right?
Let me ask you a question, B Smooth.
Please.
I feel like sometimes, the longer we go into the season, I feel like sometimes from a narrative standpoint, I'm connecting all the games, right? So when we talk about the way they played against Coppin, for a moment, I kind of flashed all the way back to Providence. I'm like, is this really the same? Are these the same players? Because they just seem so offensively prepared against them, and for it to, I guess, I don't know if you all are having that experience, but I was like, well, dang, they played all, especially in the non-conference schedule. I keep going back to these, kind of name schools or whatever, and they were like, man, they were, playing a certain kind of way, and it just doesn't seem like it's exactly the same now.
My thoughts, and I think it all comes down to film, right? Early on, first of all, we got we got 10 new players. So Providence didn't know what to expect.
Yeah,
right. Cincinnati didn't know what to expect. But now Coppin State's like, oh,
no, we see.
Rewind that.
That's a good point, Chip. That's a great point, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm glad you brought it up too, E, because We talk about it. I know when I was serving my version of King of the Court, I was able to hang out with the team, and I kept telling them that every time we go out, it's about stacking days, and you're the one everybody's going after because they told us at the beginning of the season you are the team to beat, which means not only are they getting scouted, but they're getting scouted to see how do we stop them, and that's different than how do we play them. It's like how do we stop them? So, the question I have for you, Chip, related to that is Zanaya Thomas is our favorite for MEAC Player of the Year coming into the season. And she's doing really well, but I'm wondering, based on all your expert analysis of the rest of the MEAC, who do you see as someone who could stop her one-on-one if she had to be played one-on-one? Who could stop her one-on-one?
I don't have the names in front of me, right? But I could pull them up. But there's several MEAC teams that have some thicker players in the front court. And I think she's going to have a problem with those players. I mean, even as we'll get to, Morgan Callahan, for Morgan. Like I said, I can't think of the young lady's name at Coppin, but they got some heft. Like even in South Carolina State, because we got to see them again, of course, right? Like I think her name is Harper. It's like Heaven or Harper. But all of those, I would say, Audie Crooks kind of style players are going to give her some problems. So that's kind of what I see.
Be smooth. You're going to let him get away with using that adjective, thicker. He
so at least he didn't say it thicker than a Snicker, because then that's another whole thing.
I'm like, wow, that just went right on by.
No, I wanted to get his complete thought out because I caught him off guard tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Contrary to popular belief, Chip isn't walking around with all of the facts of an almanac when it comes to MEAC basketball.
Close.
We have noted
he's
close. You give him a few minutes. He'll have a name for you. But he is describing a characteristic where even when we spoke to Z Payne early in the season, she's been in the gym. You could tell she's been getting her strength up. But there's some stronger. How about that, Ewash? There's some stronger players that can take a little bit more space in the paint, and so she has to work around folks. She can't go through them, and so this is where we hope that her mid-range game can pick up, so she can bring them away from the basket, because she's struggling at times when they can lay on her. But that's where the scouting report says, "Stop Z Payne, you got a chance." Right? That's how it works right now. So it was cool to see. I think that. Don't want to belabor it. Coppin was really good. I think that for you all listening in here, I'd love to get your feedback because you all are watching with us. If you see some players that you think Z Payne might have a hard time with, please pop it in the comments. Continue to hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube. And if you're checking us out on Spotify, leave us a comment there. We're trying to make sure that you can stay in the conversation as we go. So we'll keep going, right? Because this is the Battle of the Beltway. So we play Coppin, and there's another school, but they traveled down to see us this past weekend from Baltimore. They're called the Morgan State Bears. And Morgan State had to come to the Burr, which is a hard place to play. And we showed them why, right? We actually brought them in. We had to play an earlier game. So setting context, there's a ice storm hitting most of the country. I think by the time you hear about this, hopefully most of us will have unthawed from the weekend, but because of the pending storms, we had to play some games a lot earlier. So this was an early morning game for us. I think 11 a.m. was the tip. And again, this was a cool game for us to see the competition. Like our team, there's a lot of new players from Morgan. We did come out with the win, as we have here in front of you. If you're watching us on YouTube, the team effort is what I wanted to highlight here. And I know Chip, you'll share some comments from one of the coaches here, but Eric, this is probably the first game where we had scoring from at least 5 or so players, double digits, that would allow us to feel really good if we ever go into a situation where somebody's trying to shut down one of our teams. They know that there's other people who can score, but we kept the win streak alive. That's the big thing that here. Morgan State, we've beat them now 7 times in a row for the ladies, and that's domination. If you look that up in the dictionary, you'll see Howard beating up on Morgan State. That's how it goes. But let's talk about it, because this was a game where, again, I think we started a little bit slower, and we actually probably let them feel like they were in the game a lot longer. Because once we got our footing after halftime, it seemed like we turned on a different speed. But yeah, the first half, it felt like the game was closer than it should have been. But love to hear you guys' feedback on the game. What did you see, and what are you taking away from the game?
All right. Well, do we want to hear from Coach BD before we kind of give our analysis? Because he kind of laid the groundwork a little bit for some of my thoughts.
I'm all for it. And if Coach Brian Davis is telling us we don't have to repeat it, that's the best part about this, because we got access.
Playing well, so you got to give them credit. Morgan State came out playing well, so you got to give them credit for coming out and playing well. We didn't start the game like we wanted to, but I think that our depth and the game plan was there, and so I think our depth really came into play in the second half. Things started to click, and we went on a nice run and put the game away.
Were there any halftime kind of adjustments? What did you guys want to focus on, say, from the first half to the second half?
Yeah, we really didn't make any huge adjustments. We just wanted to do more of what we came to do in that game. Just want to do it better. We felt like in the first half we didn't, follow the game plan like we wanted to, and so in the second half we tried to reapply that. We made a few adjustments defensively, which I think helped. But other than that, we pretty much stuck to, what we came in the game to do. So yeah, but sometimes you gotta change the energy, man, and give some other kids an opportunity. And those kids came off the bench and held it down and did a really good job. And so that's why you got a team. That's why you got 13, 14 players on your team. That's why you recruit. You recruit so you can play your players. And that's one thing about us. We recruit to play our players.
Yeah.
And, that's what Coach Todd does. And so we were able to use them today, and they did really well. 5 players in double figures today. I don't think that's happened all season for us.
Yeah.
It's good to be, continue to play well and build. And I think that we're building in the right direction into playing better basketball each game.
That's awesome, man. Shout out to Coach Davis. Shout out Coach Davis for giving us a little bit of time for After the Buzzer with Chip Washington. Exclusively on YouTube. Please like and subscribe so you can get access to the full interview. Chip?
Yep. So one of the things that I saw that he alluded to, was when we talked about the slow starts, and I love the hockey shift rotation. Is the starters started out slow. I think it was within about 2 minutes. Coach Grace pulled everybody and put a brand new 5 in. Which I was excited to see. I love when a coach, I'm not saying anything, KB. I love when a coach.
He always has so much glee when it happens, too.
He does.
I love when a coach has depth and uses it. So to see a new 5 go out, and she left him in there for a nice little stretch. So it was good to see them. They had some growing pains. Those 5 did, but I was just ecstatic to see the depth on display. And and it was cool to see, remember before in Bison Nation, you can go back to August 2nd when we interviewed Jada Kendrick, because her friend, Michaela Bogans, was starting for Morgan State, and she had a hell of a game. And so it was good to see those two go at it for the first time, in college, in Division I. But I love seeing the depth on display and us pulling away. Really, to me, it wasn't until I would say after the third quarter that I felt comfortable that we were gonna pull this off. So, yeah,
I dig it. E, you have some thoughts on this one, E?
No, I guess not too much to add. I'm glad he went with the coach segment, because that kind of took care of everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it's an awesome way for us to get inside access to what's going on after the game. So Chip, you did a great job with catching Brian Davis right before it got too late on that Saturday. And as a friend of the show, he always gives us the inside scoop. So I'm glad to see he let us know that it was intentional that we played our players. It wasn't something wrong. It was more like, let's just play the players we have. And it came out nicely there. So again, Bison Nation, we are, in our recap section, recaps and insights. And yeah, man, it was a really good week for the ladies. 2 up, 2 down. And they're reestablishing the fact that they should be considered the queens of the court. I know we still have a date of destiny with University of Maryland Eastern Shore to see who's going to be ultimately the number 1 seed. But we're starting to catch our stride at the right time here. We're getting closer and closer to March, which means every time we get closer, it should be a little bit better than the last time. So this is great. So what we'll do then is we have one more game to cover, and it'd be too much hyperbole to say this was a high stakes, high energy game. And when we lost this game, right? It felt like a punch in the gut because we had the win and we let them off the hook. Because when the dust settled, Morgan State figured out a way. They scrapped their way to a 1-point victory, 78-77. And I know it hurts more because for the majority of the game, we held a lead sometimes as high as 10 points, even in the second half. And I know for us, it was crazy because Cedric, who's featured here, dunking on someone that didn't see it coming. Cedric Taylor III had his best game as a college player, 29 points, and just put it all together. Yeah, show some of those highlights. Yeah, that's my man. CT3 would call him here. But he absolutely had a performance where he was 12 or 13 from the line and putting up 29 points, including a much-needed alley-oop at some point there. Oh, the layup was beautiful. Butter. And so he and Bryce Harris, who's our perennial all-star, had 52 of our 77 points. So it's the first game I can recall, Chip, where we saw the power of both of those guys on the floor at the same time, scoring at a high clip. I do have some questions for you after we get some insight from you all, just because it was good to see, but it's also concerning that those two could have such great games and we still aren't able to pull out the victory. So oh, there it is.
Yeah, that was nice.
that alley-oop is still nasty. So Chip, man, talk to me.
Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Did you have one? I can start with you, E, if you're ready.
Okay. I'll say I'm gonna start by saying, I'm gonna give you two gifts on this one, Brian. I'm gonna stop saying bear down since we lost to the Bears. And the Bears lost. And the reason I'm bringing all of this up is, one of my experiences during the season was sometimes if the game was late, I fall asleep and I get up and go, oh, the Bears won. And this time it's the exact opposite. I had some technical glitches, but it looked like we was having it all together. And by the time I got my glitch, it's like, we lost this game. So I couldn't believe it, man. I couldn't believe we lost this one. I just seemed like we was in control. It seemed like one of the things I was worried about, like, dang, Bryce ain't been scoring. He's scoring now. I'm thinking, okay, we at home. I was not expecting to see that. I was devastated. So yeah, man. I don't know. I was not expecting that at all. I was not expecting.
Yeah. Well, it's the MEAC. We said it in our preview show. It's wide open. I think that knowing that it's hard to win when you're an away team, it's almost expected that you hold your home court and then you try to figure out how to win on the road just so you can see who's who and what's what. And I believe, Chip, you shared a clip with me where the coach from Morgan State was talking about how some of his best players were injured. So this wasn't even the full strength team that they brought to Baltimore. And shout out to the coach. I know he had a death in the family and had to come right back from a funeral to play to coach his team. So I appreciate him showing what it means to stay about the business. And so, our hearts are with you, Coach. I know it's tough to be able to keep the personal stuff the way it is, but your team pulled through. And like I said, as much as I was surprised that you didn't use the bear down in the most inappropriate way for Morgan State bearing down and winning at the last second, I do think that I think they earned it because they never let it get out of hand. I mean, even 10 points down, as soon as we got to 10, they got it back to 5. And so their two guards are the truth. I think, Chip, you called it earlier on that if their guards get on like they should, it may be tough for us at the end. And we saw it. Their guards actually dictated everything about the end of the game. And it's consistent with what we said in our preview shows of, it still runs through guards. If you have strong guards, you have a really good shot to win games in the MEAC. So Chip, talk to me, man. What did you see from the game?
So in the world of contradictions, I know when you asked us earlier about the Morehouse game and free throw shooting, to me, this loss is on the fact that we didn't punish Morgan State when they had Elijah Davis sticking Cedric Taylor down the stretch. We had to and have to find a way. If Cedric Taylor is 6'7", 2 whatever, and Elijah Davis is 5'10" on a good day, no way we shouldn't have kept feeding CT3 down there on the post instead of settling for the outside shots that we were taking. To me, that was the biggest factor how we coughed up this lead, because there were at least 4 possessions or maybe 3 possessions where he was like, I'm here, give me the rock. You can't even see the dude behind me because I'm so much bigger than him. So yeah, it's just giving him an ability, and like you said, that Elijah Davis and Lawson, every time I scouted them, if the game was close, them 2 dudes are closers. So we didn't need to have a close game, giving Elijah Davis any sort of chance. But yeah, we should have pounded the paint with when they tried to put Elijah Davis on Cedric, and that to me was that's why we lost this game. So
yeah. You had something, man. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, yeah. Somebody on the broadcast team for ESPN also pointed out that they felt like this was a must-win game for us because it puts us 3 games back now, and that sort of brought me back to one of the things we talked about early on was getting away from having to depend on the tournament, so to speak, to make things happen. And we kind of inching close to that dilemma, if you will,
Well, this is where you're raising a good point, E. The hope was that with such a strong non-conference schedule and a non-conference schedule record, that if we just took care of business in conference, if we assume we make it past the championship in Norfolk, we should seek a higher seeding and be pissed off if we don't. Problem is, if we start losing games in conference, we still have still have to win the tournament. It's just we can't sit there and act like we should be a higher seed completely if we're not showing that. Now the good news is that because the MEAC is so wide open, any team could win, and that's what everybody's probably got on their mind. So if I'm the coach down in Norfolk, or if I'm KB here in DC, thinking that we were going to run the tables and it'd just be us 2 trying to figure out who's going to represent the conference in the tournament, we're sadly mistaken. And I'm kind of excited about that, because that means that there are no slouch games. Like we the must-win part of Saturday was it's our home. It's not necessarily because we're going to be 3 games down, whatever. It's just you got to win all your home games just to make it interesting, because when you start losing your home games, you're going to play a lot more games during the tournament. It'll feel like an AAU tournament more than just your favorable seeding goes out the window. So yeah, we're sitting pretty far down in the conference right now, which some may say this is right where we need to be based on how we're playing. Because one of the questions I have for you both is that, again, I said we saw the best performances from Cedric and Bryce together that we've had all season, right? But my question to you is, because people know we want to run the offense through those 2, are we becoming more predictable for the elite coaches in the MEAC in terms of our offense? Are we becoming more predictable?
I actually would say no, for this reason. The last couple of games seems like different people have been featured anyway, whether it was Okoji, Taylor, and then, for a while I was thinking Bryce might be hurt or something, because he had a couple of single-digit games, if I'm not mistaken. And so for that to be the case, and then they still are scoring, that sort of at least says to me, you're coming up with some different ways to spread the offense around, either by choice or by, whatever the case may be. But yeah,
it's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, I want to accept that, but I can't. And and I do. I really want to accept it because it sounded plausible that we're not being predictable yet. When we went stagnant from the field in the second half, to Chip's point, we just forgot that the guys scoring. We just stopped looking for them, and I think we shot just 28% from the field in the second half.
Oof.
We went cold. We were up 6 going into halftime, and we went cold, and we missed 8 free throws, which means if you just add that up, you make half of those, that game is not close. So we started missing free throws late. We did, and that's the question for me. And this is the other one that kills me a little bit, is I was looking at the bench points for Morgan State, Chip, and they only had 9 points from their bench for the whole game. 9 points, and they still won. They had guys fouling out, guys in foul trouble, but they had 9 points from the bench. And so I'm worried about toughness, because that's what needs to develop right now. That's why I'm not worried about where we are in the seeding. Is I haven't seen us get tough yet, and how do we close games? So I know we'll get into the over-under reactions. I may have given you a tad bit of a preview for those listening in, but just know that it was a heartbreaker. It definitely was a game that we had. It wasn't like we were struggling to get to a 1-point loss. It was that we had it, stopped scoring. They never stopped grinding and put themselves in position to win, and they did. They were able to hit a shot at the very end and put us on our heels for the last couple of seconds of the game. So tough loss for our guys. They went 1-1 last week, so very good win against Morehouse. Doesn't count against our conference schedule, but it was a good boost, and definitely a loss that we're going to probably scratch our heads about for a little bit when we get back into MEAC play this week. And then the ladies continue down their path. They're just plodding away, getting ready for a championship run. And so great week for them, right?
Now, I will say this on your toughness point, and I haven't said this yet on any of the shows, but I think now is the time to put it out. So you remember last season on the women's team when Kaya Creek and Tiana Walker were kind of having bad shooting outings, and we had this inside presence, and they just wouldn't play on the inside. And so we started tasing. Remember, we were going to tase everybody. We're going to tase Kaya. We're going to tase Tiana.
I remember the tase.
Taking any shots outside of the paint because we weren't using our strength. Well,
you see how much energy he gave to that?
Jeez. I got something for the men now.
What you got?
We might not be able to tase him, but Cedric, even though I love the finger roll, when you at the rim, if you are not dunking, you talking about toughness, right? It's all about toughness. Like
Toughness.
I love the finger roll, but I need some thunderous flushes at the rim, and if you don't, we finding you. So every layup, I don't know what the fine is gonna be yet.
Right.
Bryce, Cedric, anybody above the rim that can dunk, and you got the opportunity to dunk, and it's a layup, we finding you. I hate to break it to you fellas, but
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you gotta stop hanging out with Dion. Dion put fines on his team for conduct unbecoming of the team, detrimental to the team. And if they're not dunking, that's detrimental, huh?
Hey, if we gotta be tougher, we need to be flushing.
We gotta be flushing.
Hey, Donis, that's you too.
Here we go with the names. Calling those names.
6'10".
Play like it.
I need some dunking. I mean, I saw his shot get blocked. I'm like, hey, fines for everybody. Coach Nate, Coach KB, just let me know what the amount needs to be. We find it.
I love it.
The punishment is going to have to listen to a constant loop and reel of all the people he called out.
Yeah, whatever it takes, E. Whatever it takes. So this is good, man. I appreciate the insights there. Thank you, Chip, because again, we know we're looking for certain development to occur. Championships aren't won overnight, and the behaviors are there, but there's some character building around closing out these games. And we've talked about it a little bit, but we'll get into it in a minute in the next side of the break here, because we're ready to get into our over-under reactions. So we're starting to give a little tease for that. If If you're just joining the show, welcome. This is Bison Brothers Basketball. And we just got through talking about our recaps and insights for the games this week. So after the break, we'll get into over and under reaction. Stay tuned. Hey, welcome back to Bison Brothers Basketball. I'm B Smooth with your boy Chip Washington and E Wash. We are Bison Brothers of the Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast. And we're having fun. We just wrapped up our recaps and now we're into over and under reactions. It's that time of the show where we start to pontificate. That's for you, E Wash. That's a Morehouse word. We start to pontificate about what we're learning and what we're curating with all of our deep, thoughtful analysis of what's going on in the world of Howard basketball and MEAC basketball in the conference play here. So who's up first for their over or under reaction today?
Go with you.
Who wants it? Who wants it? All right. I'll take it. And I can't believe that I only have an underreaction. I think if you rewind this show to last year and the men were having the season that they're having, I would have been apoplectic. It's another one of those Morehouse.
It's Morehouse word. Morehouse word.
I'm glad it's rubbing off on you guys.
Shout out to Dr. King and E. Washington. The big jokers we know and love.
Ron Bailey.
The big jokers we know and love. The big jokers we know and love from Morehouse.
So, we're 2-3 in the MEAC, 6th place. And I hear the angst with Bison Nation. Everybody's what the hell is going on? And to Bison Nation, I say if you thought us winning the conference title if that was your goal, then okay, maybe you should worry. Because that probably ain't happening. But we got the talent, we got the scheme. We just need to press our inside advantage from here on out. It's going to be an ugly process, some ups and downs. But if we didn't have the talent, I'd be concerned. But I see you, Bison Nation. Y'all freaking out. 2-3 because we're supposed to be number 2, in the MEAC. That it ain't going to happen. But conference time, E, you said it to your point. We got three good days. 3 good days in March. We just going to get through the up and down process of learning how we need to grow as a team. We got 10 new players. Everybody still, you see KB still kind of tinkering with the lineup. We're going to be okay. I like, even though we lost to Morgan, it wasn't because of talent.
Okay.
3 good days. We have the talent from the AAU standpoint to go 3 good days in March. I can't believe I'm saying it. Because I know a year ago that, it would have been crazy. But we're going to be all right. We got the talent. We got the scheme. We're just going to have to wait to the tournament for it to all come together.
So if I'm straight, let me get this straight. So this is overreaction or underreaction?
It's underreaction.
Under. Okay, so your underreaction is RELAX. Relax.
Pretty much.
Because we always have the tournament at the backstop. So whatever happens, as long as we play well in the tournament, we're okay.
Yeah, like I said, I would say we got the talent and the scheme to do that, but it's gonna be ugly getting there.
All right, and Bison Nation, if as you're listening this far in, weigh in on Chip's underreaction. Do you think we should just relax, or should we worry about the fact that we're not necessarily clipping as a championship team might be at this point in the season? So check us out on YouTube. Please comment, like, and subscribe. But we'd like to hear from you. If you're in this part of the program, we want to hear your reactions as well. Is Chip underreacting, or should he flip it over to overreact at this point? Let's go with it. So Ewash, what do you have for us today from an over or underreaction?
Okay, so I'm going to continue to underreact to B Smooth's concerns about the point guard play, because even the announcer was kind of at least for the women's game. Well, actually, both games. I feel like Cam's name came up quite a bit in a positive way, and so did our homegirl. Her name came up.
Ari Hennigan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna continue to underreact to that, and I feel like I overreacted to the Bryce scoring drop. That had me concerned. I was like, is he injured? Something? I definitely was overreacting to that.
I love it. So overreacting to Bryce's apparent pause in his scoring veracity, right? And then your underreaction is we're okay at point guard. We just let him develop. That's your okay. Oh, wow, it's really underreacting today. You guys are really even keel on Sunday.
We trying to follow directions, be smooth.
Well, I'm gonna overreact then, because if you guys are gonna underreact, let me overreact. So again, chiming in, Bison Nation, underreaction on the point guard play. Please let Ewash know how right or how wrong he is, because you're watching the same games we are. All right, and Bryce is definitely he came out playing like gangbusters in the game against Morgan, and I think we're gonna see more of that, but we're gonna have to see more there. But my overreaction is this. And it's very clear, Bison Nation, that I'm going to have to say it because I don't know if everybody's paying attention to what we're not seeing. You had Coach Brian Davis on earlier, Chip, around they recruit players that they plan to play. So my overreaction is for Coach Kenny Blakeney and the men. We have talent on the bench that we're not seeing on the floor right now. And I believe that until we do, we're going to have a harder time closing some of these games out, because our guys, even though they're supreme athletes, eating the top nutritious meals and running at a top program, still need to have a balance of being able to be fresh to close out games. And I'm not seeing us make the commitment in a way where we can assure ourselves that it's not just a 30-second timeout, but 4 minutes to go that allows us to get back into the rhythm of things. So that's my first overreaction for the guys. Right behind that, though, is, as I told you in the earlier part of the show, I'm looking for the dog. It doesn't have to be the point guard, but somebody's got to be a dog that you got to worry about closing out the game. And right now, I can't tell you who that is on the men's team.
On both
at all,
or just on the women?
Oh no, on the men.
Okay,
on the men. The women are starting to come together. I'm giving Ari a chance because you convinced me in your analysis in the last show I was not able to be a part of, but her comparison to AI made sense to me. So she's showing her development. So I don't see that on the men's side right now, and I'm being as completely objective as I can. Is in all of our championship runs, we knew who the dog was. Every single championship run, we knew who the dog was on the team. That if that person has the ball at the end of the game, watch out. And if you all can tell me who that is right now, then maybe I can switch positions. But I don't think you
Bryce
can.
Harris.
And since you can't, Ewash.
Bryce Harris.
Since you can't, Ewash, it's going to be my overreaction. And like I said, I invite Bison Nation to let me know. If I'm overreacting, please tell me. But right now, if you can tell me who the closer is, we go with it. And Ewash, you'd only be right if Bryce Harris had the ball in his hand at the end of the game against Morgan.
Okay.
All right.
Man,
this is good. So let's switch gears because we're getting to the thick of it, and we're talking about championships. Chip, we're trying to make travel reservations. I'm looking at my travel reservations. I don't want it to be one night. I want it to be more than one night. So we got to make sure we win a few games just to make it interesting. This show wraps up quick at the end of that Joker. So we got some time between now and March, but we're going to get into it. After the break, we're going to get into what's good for basketball from our buddy Ewash. He's going to walk us through something, and then we're going to wrap up today's show. So right after the break, we're going to get into what's good for basketball. You're with Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast.
Real proud of my people, 15 undefeated. Who else got this eagle? Howard University, best to ever do it, G. HBQ worldwide, running for eternity. Real proud of my people, 15 undefeated. Who else got this eagle? Howard University, best to ever do it, G.
I still love that. I think I need to find a shirt with him doing that alley-oop from Cameron Indoor. If you find that, man, I want that pressed on, but I don't want that Morehouse stuff that Eric has on his shirt. I want mine to be all Howard when I get that. Welcome back to the show. You're with Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast. This is Be Smooth. I got Chip Washington and E-Wash. We are the Bison Brothers of Bison Brothers Basketball, and we are at our unique part of our show where we get into what's good for basketball, and we're going to listen to E-Wash walk us through a few things and connect some dots for us when it comes to the legacy and history of basketball. So E-Wash, the floor is yours, my friend.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Once again, I want to thank you, Be Smooth, for providing the impetus for today's Good for Basketball. You know, to hear people in the comments say, "Who's the guy always talking about Morehouse?" And you know, it's just pretty interesting to hear those things, and definitely caused me to reflect a little bit. You know, pushed me to some action. To once again, I want to shout out my classmate Ron Bailey, who was on with us earlier. You know, it just caused me to reflect quite a bit. And so, you all heard me say a couple of times today, that love is the only thing that can push out hate, right? And as I thought about those things, I thought about well, what could we talk about that will serve really kind of two purposes in this case. I thought about all of the sort of Morehouse Howard synergy things that I could think of, right? And so what did I come up with? That Benjamin Mays, Benjamin Mays is somebody who was a mentor to Martin Luther King, right? Somebody is seminal to the civil rights movement from a leadership standpoint. But he was also the first dean of the School of Religion at Howard University. And I thought to myself, Be Smooth shouldn't have a problem with that. So that's a two for one there.
It is a 2-for-1. Yeah, I like that.
Like my shirt, that's a 2-for-1, right? And it's a mindset. Then I thought about Howard Thurman. Even Chip had to remind me, Rankin Chapel. Howard Thurman is somebody who, and from behind the scenes, really shaped and morphed society to his will from behind the scenes. And he did it through ethics, morality, and academics, if you will, right? And then I thought about Sheikh Anta Diop. I don't know. I know Chip's fairly familiar with him. I'm assuming you are as well. And the reason he kind of came up because the first time who he is somebody who kind of contributes to Pan-African thought and a mindset, right? And the first time he came to the United States, he came to none other than Atlanta, Georgia, and to Morehouse College, and he was invited by Coretta Scott King and Asa Hilliard and people of that ilk, if you will. And it is something that from studying their lives and the things they were able to do, it really pushed forth in my mind a mindset, an ability to see things that other people can't see, through faith, through vision, through pushing against naysayers, things that people would never think were possible, right? And so obviously, in honor of MLK, we're talking about some pretty serious things of merit, right? But I don't think we would be doing any of the things we're doing without that mindset, right? So nobody saw us broadcasting basketball games even a month ago, right? I don't think a year ago we saw, well, at least I didn't. I'll speak for myself. I did not see the level of impact that is being displayed by the Bison Brothers show, right? To see all the other things spring up, HBCU game day. And I mean, I could just kind of go on and on with what I would call the offshoots and the manifestation of the mindset of these giants, right? And we joke around a lot. It's the season for the Oscars and things like that. And I'm one of those people. I really love sinners, right? And to see somewhat of a negative reception from the industry for them, again, it's kind of, you have to have a certain kind of mindset to get over that, you know. And we had a Howard person connected to Ryan Coogler that brought to bear something completely unprecedented in the Black Panther movie, right? And I'm gonna bring it on back for you, B. I just think that it's so important, given the way things are going on in society right now, that to have a little moment of seriousness here. Dr. King often spoke about, it's not the tragedy and the oppression that is the real issue. It's kind of when people of goodwill are silent in the face of certain kind of adversity. And, I thought a lot about the things that are going on in Minnesota. And I was a little ambivalent about, whether to even speak on it, to be frank. But all I really wanted to say, just kind of based on these people, that we want to have prayer and support for Renee Good. And I want to make sure I get this man's name right. Alex Jeffrey Pretty, I might be saying it wrong. It's just important during these times to stay focused on things that matter, and I can't think of any better representatives than these sort of hybrid representatives of Howard and Morehouse, And, I think on that note, I'm just going to close with that.
Yeah, preaching a sermon today, brother. I like that. We're from what's good to basketball to what's good. Just what's good.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, only in the spirit of the Howard Morehouse, Martin Luther King.
That's right.
Hey, that leadership, service, justice.
Right. That's
appropriate,
right.
Very appropriate for this show.
Yeah. Shout out to the good education at Morehouse, man. Morehouse College is one of my favorite colleges in Atlanta. So I appreciate you bringing that forward, bro. And with that, Chip, it brings us to the end of another show, man. This was another power-packed recap. Those listening in, you're with Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast. We hitting you from every angle, trying to build one fan at a time. Right. What did you say earlier? We like to see some more cheeks and seats. It sounds better. Shout out to all the HBCU media that like to cover the games like we do. We're becoming quite the family and fan base. So Live for Hoops and a few other folks. What's my man?
Ray. You got Ray. Ray Sports.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're shouting everybody out here because we're telling the stories that need to be told. And in the spirit of what E just shared and what's good for basketball, we're taking it personal, that we need to make sure that we're not waiting for somebody to sneak around the corner and hopefully tell the stories that need to be told the way we would tell them.
That's right.
So we're here making sure that people know that it's more than a game.
That's right.
It's about the culture. It's about the culture. So I know I want you to close this out like we normally do, Chip, and let's get people back to their day because we have more basketball to cover between now and March.
All right.
Chip, take it away, man.
Hey, Bison Nation, you know what to do. Continue to support these championship teams as we just spoke on the seriousness and the importance of just being what's good. Our teams have a social justice initiative, both the men and the women's team.
That's right.
And in order for them to continue to thrive, they need us. So continue to support these championship teams. You can do that by donating to the MEAC Society at themecasociety.org or through Bison Express at hubison.com and at fanstake.com using the code MECA25. Continue to go to the games. It's cold. They need you. They need to see you in the stands, cheering us on. And please continue to tell everybody about the #1 podcast covering Howard basketball. Do that. And fellas, I'm so invigorated from this show. We're going to end this show like we end all of our shows with a hearty H-U.
You know.